When the game on the line, you can't fold and you can't bend. Y'all be playing it safe and I be going for the win. Remember back when they was doubting on the kid. Now they tuned in cause my game too legit.
There's a lot of you don't know about the fantasy headlines. Nation. Headliner Nation. Fantasy headlines for the nation. I'm a headliner. I'm a headliner.
Yo. Analytics off the chain. All the channels not the same. Jake and Kyle, you know the name. Headliner Nation, we running the game. Y'all stuck on third down. Your content's plain Jane. Headliners on top now. We gonna move and change. Podcast off the rip. Draft guide, so legit. Fantasy world, our game tight. You know we about that Chubb life. Stuck in a rut and you need some motivation. Head to the channel for this Headliner Nation.
I'm a headliner.
What is going on, fam? Hopefully everybody's doing well today. Hopefully everybody is enjoying a delicious Tuesday. I know I am. Hit the gym today. Getting swole. I got a new workout routine. Feeling really, really good right now. Feeling really, really good. I got a personal trainer. My chiropractor used to play. Let me give a shout out. Dr. Dominic Schultz used to be a football player at the University of Minnesota. He's been my chiropractor for like the last year and a half. And he also does personal training now. So I linked up with him. He's got me on a workout plan. Absolutely love it. It's incredible. It's got like this, the app like shows you all the workouts step by step and it tracks everything and you can, it's just cool. It's cool. So I'm feeling real good right now. I'm feeling swole, energized. All right. Got to get some more of this weight off. I'm back in the gym, though, and I'm feeling good. So hopefully y'all are feeling just as good. Except Jonathan, sorry to hear you have COVID, man. Get better. Get better. Drinking my smoothie right now. And I had my athletic greens this morning. If y'all don't know, we started a new sponsorship with Athletic Greens. So if y'all have ever wanted to try it or you do want to try it, make sure you use the code headliners, athleticgreens.com/headliners, and go get yourself some. I've used Athletic Greens before. I love it. It's been a while, but I got some more, and I'm feeling really good. Super easy to use in the morning. Gets you feeling real good for the afternoon, if you know what I mean. This is lunch. This is lunch right now. Strawberries, bananas, peanut butter, chocolate peanut butter protein shake, all mixed together. You guys can't tell me that you didn't love that. Also, gotta let everybody know as well, we have got a humongous giveaway for the Super Bowl with our friends at Pristine Auction. Humongous. we are giving away a $500 credit to their website, plus your choice of another autographed jersey. It's crazy. It's crazy. So if you're not signed up at Pristine Auction yet, you got to do it now. It's free. Doesn't cost you anything. Go to pristineauction.com. Use our code word headliners. When you get signed up, you're going to get a $10 coupon right off the bat. And then there is a short that we put out. If you guys aren't catching the shorts, you guys have to make sure that you're catching them. Make sure that you're catching them. Okay? We put out a short earlier today that has the information. So make sure that you go check out that short and leave a comment there. You faked sick from school today, and then I saw y'all were streaming. Where are you faking sick? Like college or high school? Like what school are you faking sick from? Zachary, they haven't cut him. But there are people that are suggesting it. Middle school. Oh my gosh. All right, Chuck, listen here. First off, I'm shocked that a 7th grader is watching us. Second off, don't skip school. Don't skip school. Stay in there. It sucks right now. Do your time and get through it. Do your time and get through it. Chuck, everybody hates school. I hated school. If you were to ask my parents, I was an absolute just disaster in school. For the longest time, like elementary school was okay. 5th grade, I started to be like, I hate this. And then middle school, I was just like, ugh. I didn't want to ever do my work. There were times when I would just blow shit off. So I get it. I understand. Even in high school, I was like, I just want to get the grades that I need to play baseball. Which I ended up graduating with like a 3.2. So, I mean, that's not bad. But it wasn't until college that I was... And it's funny, too, because my mom has made fun of me before because she's like... Because now I've got a master's degree. I've got a master's in management. You can see it back here. And then I've also taught college-level classes before. For 3 years, I taught at the college level different things. So she's like, how did you hate school so much, but now you're doing it? So it's just funny. But stay in school. It sucks. I get it. I understand. There's much better things that you could be doing. But put the work in now, and trust me, you'll be a lot better off. When you're finally done, you will be a lot better off. Trust me. Just get through it. Just get through it, okay? Do it for me. Do it for me. Is there anybody out there that's skipping work today? How many of you plan on skipping work on Monday so you don't have to go into work after the Super Bowl? How many of you plan on skipping on Monday? I'm probably... You already have it off? You'll be fine. Anthony, not this Monday. President's Day is next Monday. You don't have this Monday off. Right? You have next Monday off. My wife also works for the government. She doesn't have this Monday off. She has next Monday. That's what I was talking to somebody about it. I was like, next year the NFL should just start the season a week later. So then President's Day comes. Oh, you have both off. What's this Monday? Maybe I missed something. Maybe my wife has this Monday off as well. But they were saying start the season a week later, so then President's Day is the Monday after the Super Bowl, so hopefully people have it off. I mean, do me a favor, don't tell Jake I'm coming in late on Monday. I'll be here when I get here. I did see that. Ben. Such a jarring switch in mentality. All right. Ladies and gentlemen. Didn't ask, don't know, don't care. He's like, I'm just not going to be here. All right. So last week on, was it Thursday or Tuesday? I don't remember. But last week, Buck's here. James, that's going to happen a little bit later on. Ben with the gifted membership to the Headliner Nation community. Ben, keeping the streak alive of gifted memberships. Appreciate you, Ben. Carlos, what's up? So yeah, okay, so last Tuesday we started talking about wide receiver tiers. And we were using Tier Maker, and we're kind of going through and discussing where guys fall in it. And we talked about a few guys right off the bat. So we decided ultimately that Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase should have their own tier. Then the S tier, the alphas. And remember, when we talk about this, we're talking long term. We're looking at their next 3 years worth of value. Because we're trying to decide, okay, when are guys going to start to face that downhill turn in productivity that comes with older age. So the S tier, we decided to go with A.J. Brown, CeeDee Lamb, Amon-Ra St. Brown. The SA tier, so kind of the aging wide receivers, but still being able to probably produce alpha numbers in at least 2023 and maybe over the next couple of years, hopefully. Tyreek Hill, Devonta Adams, Cooper Kupp, Stephon Diggs. And then we put Jalen Waddle and DK Metcalf in the A tier to kind of go over, all right, these are guys that maybe aren't going to have elite numbers every single year for certain reasons, but they're probably really close and could easily be moved into the S tier by next season. The Ravens already plan to franchise tag Lamar. It's going to be non-exclusive. So the only way he can go anywhere is if somebody were to trade for him. Rory's is at orientation for a hella new job. And he's here just chiming in real quick saying, what's up? I love that. Commitment. One thing that's a little bit of an issue is we don't, the Tier Maker app here doesn't have, the rookies from this past season, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So there are certain guys that are not showing up on here. So let's try and maybe find somebody else for right now. Let's go over... Let's talk about Tampa Bay with no more Tom Brady. We've got Chris Godwin and Mike Evans. So let's talk about Chris Godwin and Mike Evans. Chris Godwin, obviously injured to begin the year, but bounced back. Ended up finishing all right towards the end of the season. Let's do Chris Godwin first. So stats this season in 2022, had 104 receptions on 142 targets, which is crazy because even though he missed the beginning of the year, he had 142 targets for the season. Most in his career. 1,023 yards. Did see a drop in yards per reception. Dropped below 10 for the first time in his career. Actually, this was the second lowest. Last year he averaged 11.3 yards per reception. This year it was just 9.8. And then he only had 3 touchdowns this year, which is his lowest since 2017 when he only had 1 touchdown. So Chris Godwin, he's 26 years old. And I mean, like I said, this year career highs in receptions and targets. A little bit of drop in receiving yards. But the question is going to be, who is the quarterback moving forwards, right? Yep, James, correct. We don't know who it is. So here's my question for you. We're going to put him there. Where's Mike Evans? We're going to put Mike Evans here. Both in the B. Zach, that is a great point. They lost Jensen to begin the season, and he didn't make it back until the playoffs. Losing Jensen was big. There's a lot of people that I've seen come back to some of our videos from over the offseason when we talked about really liking Leonard Fournette. And they're like, oh, big miss here on Leonard Fournette. And we have to try and remind them, hey, we put this information out before their offensive line got scrap heaped, right? They had some major injuries on the offensive line. That messes with things. And I think it did mess with things this year too. So let me ask you all this. If Kyle Trask ends up being the starting quarterback for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, are we leaving Mike Evans and Chris Godwin in this B category? If, let's say, they bring in Derek Carr, does that change things for you? Because I think those are going to be your two most likely scenarios at this point. I don't see them trading up for a younger quarterback. I don't see them trading up to grab like one of the top guys. And I would say that either they'll roll with Kyle Trask or they might try to get Derek Carr. We'll get to more guys here. We'll get to more guys. All right, so we're saying the jump from Kyle Trask to Derek Carr is sizable. How sizable? So if you're saying the jump to Carr is sizable, are we going Chris Godwin and Mike Evans into A? Are one of them going into SA? Mike Evans a little inconsistent this year, but he does have 1,000 receiving yards in every single year since the beginning of his career. It's a record for wide receivers. Only one to ever do it. And honestly, he would have had a much bigger year. He would have had a much bigger year, but there was one huge pass against Carolina he dropped. That would have been a huge, it would have been like a 70-yard touchdown, 60-yard touchdown. He dropped that. And then he also had 2 big touchdowns called back. So that right there is another 3 touchdowns and potentially like 200 receiving yards that he lost out on this year. All right, so the consensus is right now, since we don't know the quarterback, we're going to leave Chris Godwin, Mike Evans as a B. I don't hate that. What about another pair of teammates that now have a new head coach? Jerry Jeudy and Cortland Sutton. We're talking about pairs today. Let's talk about some teammates today. So let's talk about Jerry Jeudy and Courtland Sutton. They still have Russell Wilson. I think there is a wide range of outcomes on people's interest in Russell Wilson. I think there's a lot of people who think he's washed up, and I think there's a lot of people that think he still has something left in the tank. Buying Jeudy isn't going well. Is Sean Payton going to bring these guys back? Yeah, we'll get to T. Higgins. Don't worry. We've got time. We're just chilling. We also don't know what could happen with T. Higgins because there's reports that Cincinnati could try to trade him, which could have a huge change. Who's ignoring Devonta Smith? Also, Tashar, maybe you should also do a little bit of a look at the statistics to realize how he ended up as the wide receiver 9. All right? I'm not saying, I've never said Devonta Smith is bad. Never. I always said that Devonta Smith, to me, was not an alpha wide receiver 1 player. He was a guy that would need somebody on the other side so he could win one-on-one matchups and not have to deal with double teams. And that's exactly what happened this season. So my analysis of Devonta Smith, I don't think has really been that bad. But also, I think you should take a look at what Devonta Smith did. We're going to go off on a little bit of a tangent here, because Tashar comes in and just says, why y'all ignoring Devontae Adams? And I think that's a little asinine. Okay? So let's jump over here. Okay? And let's talk about Devonta Smith for a second. Because you have to realize that at the beginning of the season, Devonta Smith wasn't doing jack. Alright? He wasn't. He wasn't doing anything. Week 1 of the regular season had 0 receiving yards against Detroit. Bounce back against Minnesota, had 80. Not bad. Had a huge game against Washington for 169. So an up and down kind of start to the year, correct? Up and down. Could have been better. But then we go on to week 4 against Jacksonville. He only had 17 receiving yards. Bounces back against Arizona, has 87. All right. 44 receiving yards in week 6. So week 7 was their bye. Week 7 was their bye. I would keep A.J. Brown over Devontae Adams. We don't even know who Devontae Adams' quarterback is right now. So week 7 was their bye. So from week 1 to week 6, in half PPR leagues, Devonta Smith was the wide receiver 16. Not bad. Wide receiver, 2 for the most part, but had some inconsistencies. He had some inconsistencies. And then he comes back after the bye, and he goes 23 yards in week 8, 22 yards in week 9, 39 yards in week 10, a little bit of a better week with 78 in week 11 and 50 in week 12. Devonta Smith didn't do anything throughout the first 12 weeks of the season. In fact, through week 12, Devonta Smith fell all the way down to wide receiver 28. He was barely startable. He was barely startable. So you want to come in here and say, why don't you put some respect on Devonta? Because for a majority of the season, Devonta Smith was garbage. That's why. Now, is it all his fault? Absolutely not. But there's one thing here that people just don't talk about. And this is why I love when people come into the chat and act like this, okay? Because in week 10, All right, we already talked about him through week 12, right? In week 10, Dallas Goedert went down with an injury and missed 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. Came back in week 16 and 17 and was limited, and then played a little bit more sparingly in week 18. Boom, Zach. See, we're on the same page. Dallas Goedert had a huge effect on Devonta Smith. Huge effect on Devonta Smith. Because now if you come up here and you say, okay, well, what about week 12 through week 18? What did he do? What did Devonta Smith do? Devonta Smith was the wide receiver 5. So he was barely startable through week 12, and then he was a wide receiver 1 through week 18. So that's fine that he was the wide receiver 9 on the season. Congratulations. He didn't win you any games except for the last few weeks. Recency bias. Recency bias. And now you're trying to make an excuse for him that he was dealing with a growing injury. No, that's not an excuse. The fact is that A.J. Brown is the alpha number 1 wide receiver in this offense, and then the number 2 spot is split between Dallas Goedert and Devonta Smith, and it is going to be matchup dependent. It's going to be matchup dependent after that. That's one of the reasons why I'm not willing to just throw Devonta Smith in is a wide receiver 1. This is also a team that runs the ball a lot. So, what are they going to do at the running back position? Are they going to bring back Miles Sanders? Are they going to, in my mock draft that I posted yesterday, I brought up Bijan Robinson because I think Robinson falls into the late first round. I have nothing against Devonta Smith. He had a huge year at Alabama. Absolutely deserved all the accolades. He's not an alpha wide receiver 1. In my opinion, he is still not a guy that could be a wide receiver 1 for a team and put up that type of production. And I think he absolutely benefits from having A.J. Brown across from him. But you are going to have to deal with the fact that Dallas Goedert is a big part of that offense. And that Jalen Hurts absolutely loves him. I have a feeling Tashar probably isn't even here anymore. He probably left. Somebody else had a question. Oh, he is here. I never said you were acting up. I never said you were acting up. What I said is that you came in here just throwing around, why do you all ignore Devonta Smith, wide receiver 9 this year? I never said you were acting up. So I don't know. Those are weird quotes. You can't quote something that's not a quote. But I don't know why you're bringing up Evans and Godwin now because we're not even talking about Devonta Smith yet. So now you're just trying to compare two things that aren't even happening. So now you're trying to deflect. All right. So now you're like, okay, I lost the Devonta Smith argument. So now let me deflect another way because I don't have another argument for Devonta Smith. All right. We can go round and round, baby. We can do it. Hop on here. Hop on the carousel with me. We'll go round and around. The fact is you came in, accused me of ignoring Devonta Smith, and then when I told you why there's concerns about him, you wanted to deflect to Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, which doesn't even make any sense. Waddle is 1-2 a hit away from being irrelevant. Okay. Sure. Great statistics. Love that argument. Let me talk about something else now. We're going to push him to the back. Henry, my buddy out of the blue, sent me a trade of Tyreek for the 1.05 of the 2023 class. Did he fleece himself? Henry, that depends. Did you get Tyreek Hill? I mean, if you're in win now mode and you traded the 1.05 for Tyreek Hill, I'm fine with that. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I am good, but always hurt column. Okay, so if you got Tyreek Hill, yeah, I'm good with that. I think that was a good trade for you, especially if you're in win now mode. I mean, did you fleece him? I don't know. I don't know if I would say you fleeced him. I think it was in your favor, absolutely. But that's something that we would have to wait and see, because who knows who he picks with the 1.05 and who knows how well he does. Ryan. Oh, geez. I was just getting ready to answer your question, Ryan, and then you retracted it. So I don't know what it is. What teammates were we going to talk about then? Jerry Jeudy, Cortland Sutton. Before I got off on my tangent. Jerry Jeudy, Cortland Sutton. Where do we see Jerry Jeudy, and Cortland Sutton? Are they firmly in the B tier right now? B tier with the possibility that one of them goes to A. I don't know if both go to A. Well, I'm seeing a couple of A's. It's Germ. I'm assuming that you're probably here for the first time and maybe missed the title where it says Top Dynasty. If you missed the conversation the other day, this is a continued conversation. That's probably why you're confused as to why Lamb is above Diggs. KJ Hamler. I don't know if KJ Hamler would be wide receiver 1 for them, but I definitely think he's a guy that could take some reps away. Michael Thomas light, unless he's always injured. Anthony, that's what I was kind of thinking. Jerry Jeudy, Cortland Sutton, kind of both go in the B's right now. But then we would have the potential that one of them maybe goes to A. That's kind of where I was standing right now with it as well. That we put them both in B to begin with. And then obviously we'll see how that offense reacts this year and then kind of go from there. What about Keenan Allen and Mike Williams? I think that's an interesting one to talk about. Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. Also, as we get a little bit further down here. Oops. We'll do a C here. How would why, let me, I would need to hear the argument why the Chargers wide receivers are Bs. I'm glad to see though that you did say that wait a second. I'm glad to see that you said Keenan Allen was getting older and that you didn't use an injury prone. If anybody in this chat calls Keenan Allen injury prone, I am timing you out. I'm not dealing with it. Keenan Allen, wait, listen. You guys, wait, hold on. Okay. Robert. I didn't even see Robert. Listen, everybody's saying that Keenan Allen is old. Okay, does anybody actually know Keenan Allen's age? Does anybody actually know Keenan Allen's age by any chance? I know it. I'm looking up something else, though. He's 30. He's 30. Devonta Adams is just as old. Devonta Adams is just as old as Keenan Allen. Cooper Kupp is 29. Cooper Kupp is 1 year younger than Keenan Allen. Cooper Kupp is 1 year younger than Keenan Allen. Stephon Diggs is 29. He's 1 year younger than Keenan Allen. Adams is at a different skill set and ability? Not really. Not really. Keenan Allen is not injury prone. Keenan Allen is not injury prone. He's a year older than Cooper Kupp and Stephon Diggs, and he's the same age as Devonta Adams. So if your argument is that Keenan Allen needs to be a B because of age, your argument is inaccurate. Your argument's inaccurate. 100% inaccurate. I'm sorry, but you cannot say, I'm going to put my face on the screen here so y'all can see me better. I didn't realize. Why wouldn't Keenan Allen win you a week? Why wouldn't Keenan Allen win you a week? I mean, we're saying he's not a game breaker. He won't win you a week. That was the argument that I just saw. That's interesting because back in 2017, he was the wide receiver 3. I think that would win you a week. That's just me, though, I guess. Back in 2018, he was a wide receiver 12. I mean, wide receiver 12s typically win weeks. That's a wide receiver 1, right? Back in 2019, he was the wide receiver 8. I mean, wide receiver 8s typically help you win weeks, right? I mean, I would think so. Back in 2020, he was wide receiver 14, so just outside of it. So if you want, and he did miss 2 games. He missed a couple of games in 2014. So he just ended up missing out. If he had played those 2 games, he would have finished as wide receiver 11 based on those points. And then Keenan Allen in 2021, Keenan Allen was the wide receiver 11. I'm just wondering, can all of you look around real quick? Do you see any body bags? Listen, I know it's not 2017, but your argument that he's not a game, he has been. Will he be moving forward? Maybe not. But you're arguing for Keenan Allen in the B tier. That's the difference here. You're arguing for Keenan Allen in the B tier, a guy that's been a wide receiver 1 every single season since 2017. Oh my gosh. Let's take a look. Absolutely. At 2022, let's take a look after he came back from the injury. I mean, you all already know. I talked about it in season. So he came back from his injury finally in week 11. He came back in week 11. From week 11 through week 18, he was the wide receiver 4. So you're right, it's not 2017. He was the wide receiver 4 after his injury in 2022. Eat it. Come on. Come on. Don't do my man like that. Don't do my man like that. He's been a wide receiver 1 every single season since 2017, except for one when he missed 2 games and missed out on it by like 10 points. He came back this year after his injury, and he was the wide receiver 4 throughout the entire rest of the season. And oh, he's injury prone. If you take out this year from 2017 to 2021, he only missed 3 games. 3 games. We're talking about a 3-year window. You guys are missing the argument. You guys are missing the point. The comeback kid and ambiguity. You guys are the biggest offenders right now. I'm missing my point. Okay? Because if Tyreek, you guys wanted to say at first that Keenan Allen was old and that's why he didn't deserve to be any higher. But he's a year younger, or he's a year older than Cooper Kupp and Stephon Diggs, and he's the same age as Devonta Adams. So if you're going to have those guys in the SA tier based on their age, then how in the hell are we going to keep Keenan Allen out of it? How in the hell are we going to keep Keenan Allen out of it? And then you wanted to come back and say that he can't win games. He's been a wide receiver 1! And he was again this year after his injury. Keenan Allen deserves to be in the SA tier. Because if you trade for Keenan Allen, you're trading for basically maybe this year and hopefully next year at 31 and 32. And then maybe at that point, yes, he starts to taper off and we're done at that point. But that's why Devonta Adams, Cooper Kupp, Stephon Diggs are in the SA tier, because you're kind of looking at the same thing right now. We're hoping that we get 1 to 2 more years of production, but we realize that their age is going to make them drop quicker. I mean, the comeback kid, they've been better the last 2 years. What the hell are you looking for, man? I mean, what are you looking for from the last 2 years? Devonta Adams was the wide receiver 2. Last year, I'm in the wrong year. Hold on a second. Oh, the website's froze. Hold on. All right, now we're going back to 2021. Devonta Adams was the wide receiver 3 in 2021. Stephon Diggs was the wide receiver 7. Keenan Allen was the wide receiver 14. Stephon Diggs averaged 13.8 fantasy points per game last year. Keenan Allen averaged 12.8. My men are talking smack on Keenan Allen, and I can't do it. In Dynasty, okay. I know it's fun. I'm having fun with it. I'm not angry at anybody. If you guys think I'm mad, I'm not. We're having fun. It's okay. I'm not upset with anybody. But listen, you are getting me worked up. You are getting me worked up. Can we put him in AB? We don't have an AB. We don't have an AB. Now, Alex says he'd rather have Devonta Smith and Garrett Wilson over Keenan Allen. I'm not really going to argue that with you. Now, if you came to me, if I'm a Dynasty owner and I look at my team, and my team has a legitimate top tier wide receiver one, and I'm in a position to win now, but I need more consistency at like my wide receiver two, I will go with Keenan Allen over Devonta Smith for 2023. Absolutely I would. And I just told you all why a minute ago. As a passer, I will take Justin Herbert over Jalen Hurts. Now, it's nothing against Jalen Hurts, but Jalen Hurts just runs so much. It takes away from the passing game. So I would go, if we're looking at 2023, now long-term, obviously, yes. Devonta Smith is going to have more value than Keenan Allen. That makes 100% sense. My issue with Garrett Wilson right now is I don't know who the hell his quarterback is going to be. So, like, if you're banking on getting Garrett Wilson to help you in 2023 and you're in win now, and again, I'm not talking about a rebuild. Like, if you don't think you have a shot in hell at winning in 2023, then absolutely we're taking Garrett Wilson over Keenan Allen. But if we're looking at winning in 2023, I don't even know who Garrett Wilson's quarterback is going to be. That might be true, but what if they don't re-sign Mike White? What if they don't get Aaron Rodgers or Derek Carr? What if Zach Wilson has to be the starter for the Jets heading into next year because they couldn't get anybody else? Are they going to draft somebody? They just spent the second overall pick on Zach Wilson a year ago. Are they really going to give up on him already? 2 years ago, excuse me. Are they really going to give up on him already? So we're off track now. Where did we land on Mike Williams and Keenan Allen? Roman, I agree. Wilson and Olave do have the same value for me right now, but they're both in the same situation. They're both in the same situation, whereas we don't know who their quarterback is going to be. And that makes a big difference. You know what? Honestly, I'm not even leaving this one up to the chat. I'll put Mike Williams as a B for all of you. I'm putting Mike Williams in, or I'm putting Keenan Allen in SA. Y'all just got to deal with it. If you don't like it, I don't care. I'm putting him in SA. Wide receiver 1 potential, but the age is a big determining factor. That's the same reason Hill, Adams, Kupp, and Diggs is there. Would you trade Devonta, Mac Jones, and Kmet for Kelsey and Mike Evans? 150,000%. Is this a super flex league? Or is it a 1 quarterback league? As a super flex league, who are your other quarterbacks? Who are your other quarterbacks? Who are your other running backs? I need to know both of those things. You have Dak and Russ. So you'd have to get another quarterback somehow. Who are your running backs? Jonathan Taylor, Breece Hall, A.J. Dillon, Brian Robinson, and Hunt. I'm probably making that deal. Kelsey is a huge upgrade over Kmet. If you need help at wide receiver, Mike Evans will help you. I mean, I think Mac Jones bounces back big this year. I have a 1-of-1 Mac Jones autograph that I really need to sell. I think he bounces back big this year. But you already have 2 starting quarterbacks. So I would say Higgins, Lamb, and Kirk are your wide receivers. Can you make it? Like, is the other guy needing a quarterback? Could you just do like Javonte Williams and Kmet for Kelsey? Does he really need Mac Jones? You don't really need Mike Evans. So if you could get away with not trading Mac Jones, I mean, both of them are going to have decent value. Gio, would you trade your 1.08, 2.02, and Deontay Johnson for CD in a third? 10-man PPR. I sent the trade and pulled it back, but he messaged me that he really likes the trade. Should I send it back? In this year's draft, honestly, I'm fine with it. I'm fine with it. Because this year's draft, you've got Bijan, but it's going to depend on where he lands. You've got Quentin Johnston. You've got a couple of other wide receivers, depending on where they land. They can end up going. You have the 1.1 and 1.2 already. Then I sure as hell make that trade. Because, yeah, absolutely. Because then you can draft Bijan Robinson and Quentin Johnston if you wanted to. Jackson Smith-Njigba is a guy that I like. I'm just hoping that he doesn't have too many injury things. But again, there isn't the wide receiver in this draft where I look at it and I say, this guy is going to dominate wherever he goes. I'm not that sold. There is a lot of good players. I just don't know if there's anybody that comes in and they're going to dominate. Definitely not put up. No. I didn't say injury prone. I don't use the word injury prone. So I didn't say injury prone. I'm just hoping his injuries don't become a concern is what I was saying. Because one of the problems with Jackson Smith-Njigba this year was it seemed like he was getting close to coming back at times and then he would have setbacks. I don't know how true that is though. I don't know if that's accurate because at the college level, they don't give out injury information. They don't give out injury information. I have dust up here. Well, that's gross. Yeah, I make that trade. I like Jason. I like him. Do not get me wrong. I like him. But it also depends on what, because I also don't think GSN is a guy that dominates by himself either. I don't know that as of yet. I think he's good, but I think he would benefit from having other people in his offense. Please tell me that you're not doing this. Listen, if you're doing rookie drafts, before the NFL draft, y'all done effed up. Don't do that. Do not do your rookie drafts until after the NFL draft has occurred. Dr. Ethan Turner in the house. What up, Ethan? There's nothing that bothers me more. JSN didn't just have Harrison. Okay? You have to remember this. Last year it was Jackson Smith-Njigba and Marvin Harrison Jr. But then the year before that, it was JSN, Harrison, Garrett Wilson, and Chris Olave. Talk about a wide receiver room there. Whew. It's crazy. And they still couldn't beat Michigan. I couldn't resist. I'm sorry. Too good. Oh, man. I mean, if you told me that I got JSN, Harrison, Olave, and Garrett Wilson, I don't know if I'm picking another wide receiver room in the country, including Alabama. Those four guys are absolutely Alabama level, 100%. Listen, Ethan. They messed up. Michigan just played their worst game of the year. It happens. Ambiguity, I'm not trading for Kyle Pitts. Amon-Ra shouldn't make you nervous. He is matchup proof. They both are crazy good. Thoughts on Quentin Johnston? I like Quentin Johnston, but is Quentin Johnston Mike Williams? Ethan, yeah, is Quentin Johnston Mike Williams? That's kind of my question mark. Because Quentin Johnston is a guy that he's going to be faster than Mike Williams when you take a look at the combine. No, Mike Williams is B tier. It's right here. Quentin Johnston is definitely going to be an interesting one for me. I have not done his film review as of yet. I started with the quarterbacks because that's typically where most people want to start, is the quarterbacks. And then I'll get Bijan Robinson, and then I'll start going into the wide receivers. I'm making my way through the most important ones to begin with. Yeah, Quentin Johnston is an interesting one for me. I think he can be good. But does he end up becoming, again, more of... So here's... I think he's going to be slightly faster. I don't think he's going to be like a tier faster than him, but I think he's going to be slightly faster. So here's my thing with Quentin Johnston. Does he come into the league? Because, and this is why I'm asking if he's just Mike Williams. And this isn't all Mike Williams' fault. But since Mike Williams has come into the league, he's only been a guy, and if you guys were around this past offseason, you heard me talk about this. But Mike Williams is a guy, since he's come into the league, he's been just kind of a vertical threat. They haven't utilized Mike Williams' entire route tree. they run him down the field and basically say, go get open. And they've done it since he's come into the league. And I hate that. I hate that. They need to move him around the formation, create mismatches. And that is my concern with Quentin Johnston. If he comes to a team and he just becomes a vertical threat, there are concerns for me that he becomes a consistent playmaker. But if they utilize him all over the field, he could do great. But that's my comparison to Mike Williams. Is how are they going to utilize him? If you put Mike Williams in the slot more often, ran some slants over the middle of the field, if you got him matched up with some nickel corners or some safeties, Mike Williams is going to beat those guys 9 times out of 10. But they don't do that. They stick him on the outside and they just run vertical routes with him. I don't want them to do that with Quentin Johnston. So for me, it depends on where he lands. Because I want to see the entire route tree from him. He does. That's why I'm worried that that's what teams are going to do to him. Well, wiggle and athleticism, tall wide receivers, a majority of the time, taller wide receivers struggle with the athleticism part and beating more athletic cornerbacks that they can't quite break out of their routes as quickly as some others. A lot of people, when they look at tall wide receivers, try to look for the next Calvin Johnson, when they should be looking for something a little bit closer to like Mike Williams, especially those guys that go now, like AJ Brown, is a bigger guy. DK Metcalf is a bigger guy. They've got a little bit wiggle and stuff like that. But again, a lot of their damage they do down the field, just beating up on cornerbacks because they're so physically gifted. And I don't think he's as physically gifted as those guys. What up, Ray? Tommy becoming a member for the 16th month. Hey, Kyle, I got offered DK and the 2.02 for Cam Akers, DJ Moore, and the 1.03. I have Amon-Ra, Calvin Ridley, Terry McLaurin, Breece Hall, and I have the 1.01. Tommy, can you start 3 wide receivers? Or do you have 2 wide receivers and then flexes? Let me try to answer Tommy here. See what he has to say. 2 wide receivers and 2 flexes. That changes things a little bit for me. I mean, if you add DK, then you could start DK, Amon-Ra, and then Terry McLaurin could end up being in the flex. You're giving up a lot of depth for me. My question would be, that 2.02, I'm not that interested in that. I'm not that interested in that 2.02. So, I mean, is he just looking for the 1.03? Because if he wants the 1.03 and he'll give up DK straight up for the 1.03, I'd rather trade that for DK and keep Cam Akers and DJ Moore. The 2.02 isn't doing anything for me. If he wants the 1.03, trade him the 1.03 straight up for DK Metcalf and keep Cam Akers and DJ Moore for the depth. And then at the 1.01, you could draft Bijan Robinson. That's what I would do. That's what I would do. Sean, becoming a member for the 4th month. Would love to hear your thoughts on what are possible expectations from Pittman and Jameson Williams on my Dynasty team and kind of in limbo about them. Well, Michael Pittman is going to depend on who his quarterback is going to be. I expect that they will make a move for a quarterback. I don't think they can go another year trying to just find somebody to step in. They're going to draft a quarterback. How much is it going to take to move up, and who do they move up with, though? And do they want to move up in front of Houston so then they can get their choice of a quarterback over Houston? Because let's say they value C.J. Stroud a lot more than Bryce Young, and they want to see C.J. Stroud in their gear the rest of the year, the rest of his career, then they've got to move up above Houston to make sure that they get him. So Pittman is going to be 100% reliant on who he's tied with. Jameson Williams, I expect him to be a guy that is going... I expect Jameson Williams to be kind of like Deshaun Jackson. In terms of, you're going to get some big games out of him, but then there's going to be some other games where if he doesn't put together that big play, he might not have that big of an impact. Jameson Williams, to me, is more of a wide receiver 2 right now, because as good as he is, I don't see him being better than Amon-Ra. And that is going to be a team that is still going to run it a lot. Ladies and gentlemen, we've been here just over an hour now, so that's going to wrap up this live stream. We didn't really get into the tiers too much. We kind of got away from that because I got off on a Devonta Smith tangent, and then I got off on a Keenan Allen tangent. You all can blame the comeback kid and ambiguity for that. That's their fault. But yeah, I think we had some good discussions today. Love it. Love these discussions. Again, I wasn't mad. If anybody thought I was mad, I wasn't mad at anybody. We were just having fun here. But yeah, that's going to end up doing it for this show. I'll be back on Thursday. I'll be back here on Thursday to hang out with all of you again. I think we're going to talk, we're either going to talk NFL draft, or we're going to do the same thing but with running backs. So we'll see what happens. But ladies and gentlemen, peace out. Stay safe. Stay healthy. Have a great rest of your day. Have a great Wednesday, and I'll see y'all on the next episode of the Fantasy Headliners. Peace out, everybody.
When the game on the line, you can't fold and you can't be